Hey, welcome back to Dogtography. Today is episode 4 of a 4-part series all about how do you become a professional dog photographer. If you haven't watched episodes 1 through 3 up until now, I suggest you do go back and watch those. It will kind of catch you up to where we are. Today, we're talking about the equipment that is required to work as a professional dog photographer. What kind of an investment are you looking at? What exactly do you need to get started? So if that interests you, stay tuned. Hi, I'm Andrea Fleury and welcome to Dogtography. My channel is all about how to take better images of your dog and how to create some really super fun memories. I walk you through different tips and tutorials and techniques. I sometimes show you behind the scenes of my professional career as a dog photographer, all while just trying to have some fun and enjoy time with our dogs. Okay, so today we're getting down into it. Equipment, what do you need? I mean, gear for photographers is like, yeah, bring it on. Like, okay, so there's more than just photography gear that you need, and I'm gonna go over it all with you today. So when I first started getting into photography, did I have this big, huge, giant, expensive camera? No, I didn't. So I used this. So this is what I first started with. So I started taking pictures of like cats and pets and stuff like that back when the iPhone first came out. So I wanted to kind of like, graduate to something else. When I started picking up like more professional style looking cameras, I always became easily intimidated by them, all the buttons and wheels and dials and numbers, and I didn't know what anything meant. So it's easy to get intimidated by that type of equipment, but that is kind of like the next step from the iPhone. I started with a DSLR. It was a crop censored camera, so it's not like a big fancy full frame camera. And it had interchangeable lenses. I invested in a few lenses. Some of them I bought off Facebook Marketplace. And actually this was a camera that I had given to my dad because I wasn't using it, so I had to ask for it back, which was a very interesting conversation. But anyway, I digress. So to get into photography, I do suggest that you invest some money into a DSLR and or mirrorless camera. I went to our local camera store just recently and spoke to Sarah at Henry's, shout out to my girl Sarah, who recommended a mirrorless Canon, I think it is the R model, that has the interchangeable RF lenses. Now that camera in Canadian dollars, I mean, don't quote me on this, I can link it below, but I do believe it was it was between the $1,000 to $1,500 range. And that is coming with the kit lens that comes with it. Now, kit lenses are not known to be great quality necessarily, but they can get you started. And that is what you need, is you need to just get started. Add to your kit slowly over time. Really, put some thought and energy into like what you want to start investing in. But I will tell you what I'm working with now. So now I shoot with the Canon EOS R5, and it is a mirrorless full frame camera. This camera retails in Canadian dollars around $5,000. And to go with it, I have quite a few different battery packs and a couple different memory cards. This does have a dual card slot holder for a CF card and an SD card. And I love this camera because it has a feature called Animal Eye Autofocus. So it actually puts a focus point on the animal's eye and can track the animal as it moves. This makes action photography so much easier. It makes everything easier. It makes life easier, just in general, I find. It just makes everything easier. There are other brands other than Canon that do have the Animal Eye Autofocus. Nikon has it, I believe, and Sony. So that is definitely a feature that I recommend if you're going out to looking to invest in a piece like this. This little handle here is sold by Spider. I have that so I can kind of like wear my camera, and if I need to kind of like do something, dogs like animals, very unpredictable. I don't want to drop this. This is everything to me, so I try to protect it as much as I can, and that is why I have the handle. I really find that helpful. So the next thing to talk about is lenses. So what do you want to work with in terms of lenses? Well, again, if you're just starting out and you're working with the kit lens that comes on your camera, you will be starting with what is called a zoom lens. So a zoom lens is one that you can articulate out and in, and it changes the focal length of the lens. So it gives you some variety built into one lens, which is great. This is my workhorse. So this is the Canon RF 70-200 with a 2.8 aperture. This lens is a freaking beast. It is on my camera, I would say 95% of the time. And the reason for that is it goes from 70-200, which is a really great focal range for portrait photography. It also works brilliantly for action photography. So it kind of does both in one lens. Because it has an aperture all the way through of 2.8, which means it sometimes on like cheaper zoom lenses, it'll have a variable between like the high and the low end of the aperture, but this is solid all the way through, means that it is wide open at the 2.8, no matter what focal length I'm shooting at. So if I'm shooting at the full 200, which is the lens, and I can't extend it out because I've got that on, but if I am using the full focal length of the lens, that's what's giving me those like creamy, dreamy, buttery, kind of smooth backgrounds, or the details of all the trees and the stuff that you don't really want in focus, like sharp focus in your image, is kind of blurred out. Though that's often what people kind of reference when they think of professional photography, is these like backgrounds that you can achieve that you can't achieve with your cell phone. So that is why I gravitate towards this lens. It is everything, and this is what I would recommend. This lens retails in Canadian dollars around $4,500. So yeah, you're looking at a lot of money. Putting this and this together is a great like starter kit for someone who's definitely got the finances to invest and the dedication to stick to this if it's what you think you want to do as a career. You do not need this to get started in dog photography though, and I want to be very clear about that. Do not let this be the obstacle that stops you from getting into your passion and starting your dream. You don't need this. I had a $1,000 camera that got me started, and it got me started making money. So I was able to capture and sell photos with the camera that I had before this. So know that. I just don't have it anymore, or I would show it to you. Okay, what else do you need? Some little tips and tools. Because there's not really that much. Like, this is the good thing. Because I'm an outdoor light photographer, I don't need big lighting equipment and backdrops and stands and carts, and I don't even know because I don't even do it. So I don't need all of that stuff on top of this. I just need a solid working camera and a lens, and that part of it is good to go. You're gonna want to invest in some really yummy treats. So I recommend you find dog treats that you like to use, and keep in mind the treats, you're going to be handling them a lot with your hands. So try to find ones that aren't greasy and oily, that leave your hands sticky and stinky because you're going to be touching your gear a lot. So find ones that break apart really easily. I actually also love the like freeze-dried liver, like the thin pieces that you can kind of crack, and they're like crispy. I really like those because they're dry and they don't make my hands like disgusting. So you're going to want to get some treats and like a treat pouch that you can have and wear when you go to your sessions. Okay, the next thing that you're going to want to invest in is some noise makers. So these are hunting calls. They replicate different sounds and noises that animals make. Like I've got rabbits, deer, I've got a wolf call, I've got ducks, I've got pheasants, mice, whatever. These I found on Amazon. The brand I recommend is PRIMO hunting calls. I have a tangled knot here, but they're on lanyards that I wear around my neck, and I can just grab one and have one make a quick sound, gets a dog's attention most of the time really quickly. You snap the shot and you move on to the next one. If you don't have the money to invest in something like this, you can go to your local dollar store and pick up something like this. So they have all kinds of squeaky toys. This is a pig and it makes like a really different noise, and that's what I liked about it. I have invested in many dollar store toys because they all have really different unique sounds. They're just not as easy to carry around, and that is why I don't use them very often when I'm out on a shoot. The last thing to talk about that I think you need in terms of basic equipment to get started is software. So taking photos and going on location and take your images, you know, camera, memory card, battery, lens, that kind of thing, you're good to go. But when you come home and you have your memory card full of images, you're going to want to download them onto your computer. So I guess you can add a computer onto the list because you're going to need that to put your software on. So the software that I use that I recommend is Adobe Lightroom and Adobe Photoshop, whatever the most recent version is. And those are the two programs that I recommend that you start with. I use Lightroom to help kind of go through my photos, cull them, select them. I do basic light corrections, sometimes some masking in there, whatever. And then Photoshop is what I mainly use for leash removals, scene cleanups, head swaps, background changes, any of the more like technical components. Those are the only two things that I really use, I think. Like, even if I'm trying to produce like a big panoramic image, I do that all in Lightroom. So that's what I use. And I think the Adobe software subscription for that is about $20 a month, Canadian. And so I don't find that to be really unrealistic. And you can even download the phones on your app or your tablet and kind of like edit on the go if you wanted to. They're not as good as the desktop programs, but hey, it all comes included, so you might as well use it. So there you have it. I hope that that helps answer any questions as to what basic equipment you need to get started. If you do have any questions or comments, please comment down below and I would be happy to answer any questions that you have. Please check out episode 1 through 3 that kind of leads you up to this video to like find out what the day in the life of a dog photographer is like, and if it's something that might fit into your lifestyle, and then how to kind of get started into taking images and what style of images might appeal to you. I really hope that this series helped you in learning from and hearing some of my own personal experiences. If you like content like this and want to see more, just let me know. I am here for you. So until next Saturday, take care and go out and make some memories with your dog. I'll see you next week. Bye for now.